I'm Jeff Lutz. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Monday morning.
Yeah, I know he said Monday.
Like a good capitalist. I'm ready to get back to work. Right?
I'm no happier about Monday.
All right, this hour, I just don't get, Bill, the Democrats' frustration with the idea that these narco-terrorists were hit twice. Like, who cares? Hit them 50 times. And then take their bodies, throw them in a meat grinder, feed them to pigs. I'm tired of these guys killing Americans. I just don't get it. Why are they so upset over these guys being hit twice?
The issue being that they are survivors after an alleged military attack. And there are international rules that you don't kill the survivors. You don't come by and shoot survivors. That's just kind of an international rule of war.
Is this like a UN rule or something like that?
Yeah, there's international rules of war, and everyone that has been through the military has been drilled on this. That especially anyone involved in the Navy, the idea of what do you do with survivors after an attack that are there, on the boat clinging to things. You don't shoot them and kill them. That's just that's what's done, because we used to do that, and that's just not ethical, nor is it moral. But that's not where we are at this point in this country.
These narco-terrorists that are bringing drugs to kill Americans, we're now caring about their ethics and morals?
Again, we could say the same thing about any other group that we are in conflict around the world, whether it be a declared military operation or not. I mean, just go whole hog and just devastate all the people in Afghanistan, because who knows what? I mean, again, how far do you draw that line? That's the issue, is the idea of being able to shoot the survivors. And then would you be okay with someone that is involved in an armed conflict with us shooting our survivors, rather than picking them up, giving them needed health care? And then again, you end up with prisoners of war and some other things. But that's how. That would be, the idea would be, if you're arguing that they should have just done that, then they should have just shot John McCain in the head. That's the argument for it, is you don't have those survivors. You don't never have that type of idea. You don't hang on to those people. So that's the idea. That's the core of this argument as to whether or not in any sort of an armed conflict, especially since we've named them terrorists, because in order to do that, that gives us permission to act this way. Then we're going to say, because we're going to take the rules of war, and then we're not going to follow them. It's an interesting place for America to be.
Oh, this is another example of Democrats always siding with criminals, and in this case, getting all worked up over the idea that narco-terrorists bringing drugs that were going to kill Americans weren't fully killed during the first strike, went back and finished them with a second strike. Now we're all up in arms over the rights of narco-terrorists. What is going on here? No, finish them off. I'm tired of these guys killing Americans. They don't care about following any rules or guidelines when it comes to what they're doing. In fact, they're operating completely recklessly, resulting in the death of Americans. Shoot them 50 times, in my mind. All right. I want you to be a part of the conversation. Where am I wrong? Where's Bill wrong? Who's right in this? 303-696-1971. Text us in the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Those guys out there, like John McCain. Can't believe it. All right, here's Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Monday morning, 33 and beautiful out there as the sun rises in Denver, expecting a high of 50 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, Lakewood police investigating after a woman was found dead in her home over the weekend in the 300 block of South Kendall Street. Investigators say the woman's death appears to be linked to a suspected burglary of her home. Police asking neighbors to check their surveillance cameras for any suspicious activity that could help their investigation. The Supreme Court is hearing arguments today over whether DJT can fire members of an independent agency, going around protections designed to protect those agencies from political pressure. It stems from 47's firing of Rebecca Kelly Slaughter. You may remember her, a member of the Federal Trade Commission. The High Court will decide whether the 1935 ruling that upheld those restrictions should be overturned. The Broncos at the Raiders in Vegas on Sunday, 3rd and goal after the Broncos drove down the field early on.
Nix, he's going to run it this time at the 5. Nix is in. Touchdown. And what an opening drive for the Broncos.
Big play from Bo Nix. The Broncos win their 10th straight. They're 11-2, 24-17 over the Raiders. Nix, 31 of 38, 212 yards, ran for 15 yards and a touchdown, the one you just heard. R.J. Harvey, 75 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Marvin Mims Jr. with a really exciting 48-yard punt return in the second quarter. And here's head coach Sean Payton.
Each win is a step. There's a number of things we're going to go back and watch the tape and be upset about. Some silly penalties, some missed assignments, and so we got to get that stuff cleaned up.
And Bo Nix staying grounded.
It's not easy doing what we do. It's not easy going to work each and every week. It's not easy pulling out, these tough wins, but we're resilient. We continue to do it. And, if that's what it takes, we're going to continue to go through it and find ways to stack wins.
And the Chiefs lost to the Texans 20-10 last night. And Bronco fans love to hear that. A Colorado State Patrol official says a Westminster city-owned truck hit and killed a pedestrian on Friday. The pedestrian ran into traffic and was pronounced dead on the scene. Authorities continue to investigate. The 12-team college football playoff has been unveiled, and Big Ten champ Indiana beat Ohio State over the weekend. Incredible. I mean, if you've watched college football like I have my entire life, Indiana, impossible not to root for their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. Here we go.
Indiana, the Big Ten champs. How does that sound?
It sounds so beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go.
You guys call yourself a bunch of misfits who found the right home at Indiana. Why was this the right place for this group?
It's the right place for process-oriented. We're going day by day. Whether it's the offensive line, the defense, the coaches, special teams, we're all process-oriented to one goal. That's our thing, is we're brothers. We can drag teams into the deep end because we know that we're going to stick together and we're the strongest glue ever.
Tell me about finding Charlie Becker, 3rd down, 2 minutes to go. We talk about Heisman moments, but take me through that one.
Man, what an incredible, Charlie's been, but he's been every single day in summer. We were always thrilled before practice, before at 7 a.m. on Sundays, doing spots, doing routes, and now you see it to come to fruition. He's my roommate, couldn't be happy for such a young man as well as our defense playing lights out. And well, everybody just, what an incredible moment.
If you need someone to root for, along with the Broncos, root for Indiana.
He sounds excited.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's great.
Isn't it great to see a kid
fantastic.
Yes,
at the prime of just experiencing that?
Yeah, and it's so genuine, authentic.
Yeah, it's so cool.
He puts the team first. And what's funny, his head coach, Kurt Cignetti, this is a great story. I remember him when he played at West Virginia a long time ago. He's a quarterback. He's from Pittsburgh. And he has, fought hard and worked his way up the ranks as a head coach. He got the job 2 years ago, and it is incredible what he's done. But if you look at Mendoza, he looks like a young Cignetti. And he almost has the same type of personality. And it's just fun to watch this. These stories don't come around a lot, but I would recommend, if you haven't watched any college football up to this point, latch on to Indiana and try to have fun. Hopefully they can go to the championship game. I don't know if they can win it, but it would be really cool if they do.
It would be, and I've got I have a very small family connection to Indiana University. It is my cousin. So it is my mom's brother's daughter married an Indiana graduate. The only reason I bring this up is because he is a big Indiana guy. I mean, Indiana sweatshirts all the time.
Really?
The family went to the game.
Did
so
they?
Yeah, so he was there, his wife, my cousin was there, and their two boys were there. And to see their pictures, beforehand they're all, hey, we're at the game. Afterwards, you could tell there was something different. And I haven't seen him smile like that in forever, since wedding day.
That is so cool.
So cool. He was over the moon, and all of his social media posts are like, I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. He's like, because again, going to Indiana, you would never imagine the Indiana football program would ever hold a candle to the Ohio State University.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
let alone beat them. Oh my God, yeah, he was just like, this is Christmas, birthday, and anniversary all wrapped up in once. He's like, I don't need anything for Christmas. It was great to see his joy. I'm more than an arm's distance away, but to see the joy through him, it was exactly what I heard from that quarterback. I could imagine that if I was able to talk to him on the phone this weekend, he would have sounded exactly like that kid. Yeah. Exactly like that kid. It's a great one.
And if you see his face and not only hear the audio there, but if you see the video, it's even better. I mean, he's just he's just so genuine in the lens. And then I saw an interview with his dad and his mom. His mom is in a wheelchair, and they were so happy, man, and just a great family. So it's a good one to root for, and that's a cool story, Billy. I love it, man.
Oh, yeah. Got to root for Indiana.
They haven't had this much excitement since Bobby Knight was the head basketball coach.
Exactly.
I mean, in the 70s and 80s. So it is pretty cool. It really is. 31, and in this era of NIL and revenue sharing and all the big money and everything, it at least feels genuine. 31 in Lafayette and 32 in Aurora, 33 in Denver, and you're waking up with Jeff and Billy. And I have to say, one of the funniest things that Billy has ever talked about, the rough, tough, and dirty. I keep on meaning to tell you that.
It is. That was our nickname for it. The rough, tough, and dirty.
Oh, my God. I've been wanting to tell you that for months. And I'm
I feel there's an element, like Bill has clearly said, no, we don't want this on RTD. But there's also, I think, a side of Bill that would be like, yeah, it's good for the kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's part of it that, like, again, you gotta make sure to increase your situational awareness.
Deal with that type of crazy. You learn.
Yes. There is part of it where you learn the idea if you can recognize it. So there is some lessons you can learn there. Yes.
It's if you survive, it's great, no doubt. Blake Olson, News Talk 710.
Golly, thinking about that poor girl that got stabbed in the neck.
I know, it's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your 710 KNUS forecast this early Monday. A few clouds this morning, temperatures around 25 as you start the day. Sunny this afternoon, highs close to 50. A few clouds tonight, lows in the upper 20s. Even warmer for Tuesday, breezy, sunny, highs around 55. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, we're talking the headline out of the New York Times, Democrats calling for release of classified video of deadly boat attacks. Top Democrat lawmakers who have seen the footage said Sunday that making the video public would provide transparency around the strikes that killed 2 survivors on September 2nd. That's the worst term. They're narco-terrorists. Top Democrats called on Sunday for the release of classified video of the U.S. military's first operation targeting a boat in the Caribbean in early September, an attack that has faced heavy scrutiny in part because of a follow-up strike that killed 2 survivors. Democrats and Republicans have offered starkly different descriptions of the video, which has been seen by some members of Congress but has not been made public. Adam Schiff saying that a top Democrat on the this is Adam Smith. Sorry, different. Adam Smith of Washington, a top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, said it was simply not accurate that the video of the September 2nd strike on the boat carrying 11 individuals showed the survivors trying to flip a capsized boat, rescue its cargo, and continue trafficking drugs, as Republicans in Congress have maintained. Seems pretty clear that they don't want to release this video because they don't want people to see it, because it's very, very difficult to justify, said Mr. Smith on ABC's This Week. Representative Jim Himes of Connecticut, a top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, who, like Mr. Smith, saw the video in a closed-door briefing, said on Face the Nation that the two survivors were barely alive, much less engaging in hostilities when the follow-up strike took place. When you actually watch the video, you realize they don't have a radio. They're barely hanging on. I don't get it. From my perspective, these are narco-terrorists bringing in drugs that are going to result in dead Americans. We lose 100,000 of them to fentanyl and drug overdoses every year. We went to war for 20-plus years. In Afghanistan, over 3,000 Americans that were dead. These guys killing 100,000 via drug overdoses. I don't care if you strike them 2, 3, or 50 times. Send the message. Suzanne texting in. But what if it's your child clinging to life? Would you want him or her to be murdered? Well, I'd be wildly disappointed if my child ever joined with a narco-terrorist cartel and started smuggling drugs in. That's why I just don't understand the Democrats. These are not good people. These people know exactly what they're doing. They made a whole series of life choices to join up with cartels and are bringing in money that's going to result in the death of Americans, or bringing in drugs that's going to result in the death of Americans for money. They're greedy terrorists. Hit them 50 times. Send a message to the cartels. We're not going to tolerate this anymore in our country. And I appreciate the president and Republicans being finally tough on the war on drugs enough to take out these guys. It's the message that needs to be sent. Others saying, Bill, the survivors were gathering up floating duffel bags of fentanyl while clinging to the destroyed boat. Four Corner Steve saying, blow them up. They're killing our kids.
Were they gathering up? I haven't seen the video of them gathering up bags. Were they? Because the information that I got so far was that the government said they possibly could have radioed for additional help and maybe could have recovered some of the drugs. Not that it was happening. I haven't heard any reports saying that was directly happening, and that would be important inside of the conclusions therein. And the other thing that's come out that makes it a little more complicated is it appears that based on the pathway for the boat, it wasn't necessarily headed towards America, that it was going south. And so that would be, especially if we're saying that these are narco-terrorists coming to attack and kill Americans, that would be an important issue as to where they were going at the time. But bottom line is they're no longer in combat. We've declared them narco-terrorists so that we can attack them this way by making them enemy combatants. And as soon as the boat is destroyed and incapacitated, they're no longer combatants. They're viewed as survivors. And according to things like the Geneva Convention, you got to pick them up and you got to provide care for them. That's the rules. But if we don't want to play by those rules, then okay, then assume that if any other conflicts that we get into, they can shoot the survivors. Would we say that Russia should be able to attack the Ukraine and then shoot all survivors? No. We wouldn't say it's okay for Russia to do, but that's the argument we're making here.
I just don't get the concern over the rules. Like, all of a sudden, the rules become really, really important. I don't hear from the progressives that these guys are violating every rule out there to addict our neighbors, our family members on drugs, and then have them die as a result of it. Like, there's no concern about those rules.
I know, but you
now
could say,
all of a sudden these rules must be followed. It's the same thing with illegal immigration, right? The minute we would try to take them out, all of a sudden the rules really matter. When you had 20 million pouring over our border under Biden, well, the rules we were a global country.
That's different, though. I mean, that's a different analogy. The issue is this is the rules they've decided to follow at this point, and this is unethical and immoral, and likely a war crime if you've declared them enemy combatants, which is the reason they're using the narco-terrorist line. That's important because otherwise these attacks are on civilians. So we have to define them as narco-terrorists. And once you do, you put them into that boat, pun intended, of enemy combatants. And once the boat is neutralized and they no longer can transport the drugs or can be in combat, there are rules that govern what you're supposed to do. That's the issue. I mean, again, if you want to advocate that Russia should go in and go scorched earth and kill everybody involved in Ukraine, go right ahead. But that, again, there are some violations there from Geneva Conventions. But if you like this idea, go ahead and advocate for it. That's the issue. It's not about the idea that we're upset that we have to follow the rules. It's the idea that everybody should have to follow the rules. And it doesn't mean...
you guys don't care about following the rules
You guys, I care.
No, progressives
this is about me.
don't
This is
care
about me.
Following the rules.
Oh, that's such a bunch of crap.
No,
that is such a bunch of crap.
You guys allowed 20 million to pour across our border. No one cared about the rules.
Nobody asked me.
They're bringing drugs into our community. No one cared about following those rules. The minute you try to hold them accountable, then the rules matter.
Nobody asked me about that, and I didn't do that. I don't get to sit there, and you're not going to lump me into those you guys. You're not going to you guys me on this one. But the issue being is just because you feel those rules that you wanted weren't followed at the time doesn't mean you get to break other rules now. That's just completely and totally illogical. That because we were unhappy with our immigration rules under Biden, we now break the rules of the Geneva Convention. That is twisted. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Speaking of twisted, 3674 texting in, progressives always willing to treat criminals better than aborted babies. They're not given any form of legal protection. Breadman saying they're pirates, and pirates don't have legal protections. 5631.
They're not designated as pirates. That's not how they're designated, Breadman.
31 saying these narco-terrorists never signed the Geneva Convention, so why do we have to abide by it?
It's because it's the rules of combat. If we're going to name them combatants, we as signatories have to follow those rules.
Capitol Hill Phil, lots of text messages on this one. I'm really nervous anytime we have to take the federal government word for who a criminal is. You guys should too, just because someone is in the government is telling you someone is a narco-terrorist. Show me the proof. Show me the proof. I still would have a hard time with shooting people clinging into a wreckage, but show me the proof. I don't imagine with all of our technology, we don't know exactly who these people are. Tell us who they are. Tell us what they've done. Or is our intelligence community so hamstrung by bad leadership we can't figure it out?
Yeah,
well,
that's why I haven't been running around with my hair on fire on this one, because I have not seen the proof either way based on the video. I'm relying on reports. So I am holding a lot of my reaction. And that's why I didn't get super mad about this at the beginning and go, oh my God, look at all they're doing, because I don't have the full story. I'm relying on reports. And based on what I have heard reported, this does seem like a violation of the Geneva Convention. In a certain way. It certainly does. But I understand why people are like the idea of going after them and killing them and teaching them a lesson, because we do want that thirst for revenge. I get it. It has very little to do with morals and ethics. It has to do with revenge. But I get it. I understand that.
I think it's about politics because, as 7079 texted in, where were all these people concerned when Joe Biden or Obama were drone striking people? You never heard any requests for videos to release, or
were.
This following the Geneva Convention? Didn't Obama kill Americans with drones?
There were people there.
Any major investigations into that?
There were people that were asking about it, etc. And some of the drone strikes had to do with, yes, some of the Americans were killed, but I believe they were also not the primary target per se, that they weren't necessarily going after Americans extrajudiciously. And again, if we're doing that with the drone strikes, remember, those people were declared as combatants, just like the narco-terrorists are. And I understand the idea of not following the rules, but the issue would be if they blew up the terrorist with the drone strikes, and then there were people that needed aid, they would be bound, if they were in the area, to provide aid to them. You wouldn't say that with Obama's drone strikes, the things he needed to do is go in there with the military and make sure to shoot everybody in the head that was there to make sure all of them are dead. You wouldn't say that everybody that was hit there, that, if one American was injured in that drone strike, you wouldn't argue and say, well, what we should have done is gone there and make sure they're dead because they were a survivor of the strike. You wouldn't make that argument. So again, it's a little bit different.
Well, I would. I don't have any problem with it. But again, the reason Democrats are all up in arms about this is because Trump's doing it. All right. Feel free to join the conversation. Would you have sent the drones back if you were in that position? You have narco-terrorists, designated narco-terrorists. The military and the intelligence community has told you that. They're bringing drugs that are going to harm Americans. Would you send the drone back a second time? I'm tired of these guys killing Americans. Send it back 50 times in my mind. Feel free to join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's talk the gun room, folks. Have an absolutely fantastic experience at the gun room. Wayne and his entire team there are fantastic. Right? These are Colorado people. They know firearms. They know safety. And they take time to walk you through what's right for you. If you're like me, we talked about this in the 6 o'clock hour. I've never even gone hunting, except for this past weekend. I went pheasant hunting for the first time with Jeff Crank, Gabe Evans. It was a ton of fun. But I'm a Second Amendment guy, but I'm not like a pro Second Amendment guy. So sometimes I feel a little intimidated going into a gun shop, but not the gun room. They love helping people. So whether you're new to shooting or looking to expand your collection or want expert guidance from people who actually care, the gun room is the place for you. And ladies, with the holidays coming up, I'm going to make this really easy for you. If you've been wondering what to get your husband, dad, or outdoorsman in your life, a gift card to the gun room is a home run. Trust me on this one. Stop in, browse their selection of new and used firearms, or just ask a few questions. Like I said, they love helping people. If you've got firearms to sell, they're the place to do it as well. They'll come in, evaluate an entire collection, make you a fair offer. So give them a call. They'll pick up the phone and talk you through any of your questions. 303-237-1300. 303-237-1300. It's the Gun Room in Lakewood. Check them out at denvergunroom.com. denvergunroom.com. Be sure to tell them Jeff sent you. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
don't get it. Democrats looking at two guys floating on a boat that had just been hit by a drone strike going, their rights, we need to protect their rights. Meanwhile, down the street at the Planned Parenthood, they're jamming scissors through innocent babies' heads. They don't care about the rights of criminals. They care about going after Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, all had drone strikes. In one case, 7079 texted in that a 16-year-old U.S.-born Denver, Colorado native died October 14th, 2011 in Yemen when a missile apparently intended for an Egyptian al-Qaeda operative hit a modest outdoor eating place. This guy, I guess he was from Colorado, the bad guy was not there, but among a dozen men killed was a young guy who had no connection to terrorism, but no calls for international tribunals and war crime violations there, were there, from Democrats? But if Trump does it.
There were some calls there, but the question is, should they have gone in and shot everybody to make sure there were no survivors? Because that's what we're talking about here.
Those were innocent people.
But I know, but the issue is we're going in to make sure there are no survivors of any attack.
But these were narco-terrorists.
Hang on a sec. The issue is, do we go in to make sure there are no survivors of any attack? That's what this is. So should we have gone in there and made sure that everybody was shot? That's the core of this, is the idea is I understand that we're saying, well, they're narco-terrorists, and that allows us to act this way as far as shooting at their boats. But the question then is, okay, fine. Do we continue to shoot all the survivors? Because that's the core of this. You can't just decide which survivors we want to shoot. There's kind of a rule of ethics and morals governing it. You shoot survivors or you don't. Because everybody is going to say, and you can always make a case, that the other people that you wanted to shoot missiles at in the first place don't deserve to survive at all. I mean, that's the case that you would have if Russia was saying it about Ukraine. It's the case Ukraine would make about Russia. It's the case that Iran would make about Israel. It's the case Israel would make about Iran. It's the case Yemen would make about Israel. We can keep going down the list. I mean, we can go all the way back to World War II and World War I, that the other side doesn't deserve to live because they're doing X, Y, or Z. That's it. That's why we're in a conflict with them. That's it. But that's the question, is do you shoot the survivors? That's at the core. And no, as hard as it is, but morally and ethically, no, you don't. Just like the First Amendment protects not your right to free speech, but the right of the person that is saying the stuff that you disagree with the most. It is when these laws are the most difficult to enforce that actually show your adherence to the laws or the morals behind them. It's easy to follow them when they're doing what you want. It's hard when they're doing things you don't necessarily agree with. That's the real test.
Mr. Thorpe, deeply committed to following those rules. I just don't. I don't see it when it comes to other rules. I mean, they're bringing in drugs that are killing Americans, and I don't hear the Democrats making these claims about these narco-terrorists so concerned about following the rules then.
But they're not. The narco-terrorists aren't holding down the Americans and pouring the drugs down their throats. The Americans are purchasing them and willingly putting them in their bodies. That's different.
There's addiction there, Bill. Come on,
Jeff. That's different than a soldier coming in and by the force of gunpoint telling you to do something. Yes, it is. Yes.
Why? Both resulting in dead Americans. If you pick up a gun and shoot Americans or hand drugs to an addicted American and it results in their death, the result is the same.
But the actions are different. That's the differentiation between the two of them. The actions are different. One of them is still self-directed. I understand the addict, and the addict can get help, etc., but the addict is still willingly putting it inside their body. And that's the issue, is the addict has to make an affirmative choice where the person that is threatened at the point of a gun by a soldier has no choice. That's it. That's the idea. It's still a choice, as difficult as that is. And so, yeah, for me, it's more
Bill,
the work on addiction programs.
Someone comes to you and says, I am deeply, deeply depressed to the point where I'm going to take my life. And you go and hand them a gun. You're not at all culpable for that decision to take that person's life?
Here's the thing. I'm not certain that's a good analogy as far as the drug addiction, because you're telling me that this person wants to end their life. That's not the purpose of the individual that is taking the drugs. They're not taking it in order, none of them, well, I would say a very, very small percentage of them are taking it in hopes that life ends. So I don't think that analogy necessarily holds, because you're talking about a life-ending decision that is being made affirmatively by the person in your case. If you want to say the person is standing there with a drug saying, I need to buy these drugs because I'm going to end my life, now we have something that's more applicable. But I don't agree that someone that is buying the drugs on downtown is necessarily looking to end their life per se.
In both cases, you know that what they're about to do is harmful to them and could result in their death, and you're willingly handing them. And what's worse about the drug cartels is that they're profiting off of it. They don't care. They know it's resulting in dead Americans, and they're profiting off of it, and we care so deeply about their rights, while not being willing to hold them accountable for what they're doing.
The weird thing is if we took drugs out of that argument and put in guns, you would find a lot of liberals that would make that very same argument about the gun manufacturers. I do not make that argument at all, nor do I think it's fair. But they'll make that exact same argument by just changing a few nouns.
Text messages hot on this one. Gino, the cop, saying if the narco suspects were hanging on the side of the boat in the UK, then the boat wasn't totally destroyed. That's why they were bombed again.
But the boat would be incapacitated, and if it's not boating. If the boat doesn't boat, then they're survivors. That's the point. That's it.
I did not have boating the boat was not boating on my bingo card today.
I'm glad I surprised you.
Jacqueline, Bill, shoot them all. You shoot the drug dealers, you shoot the drug traffickers, you shoot them all. Jacqueline, I agree with you at this point. They know what they're doing. They are profiting off of the death of Americans.
Yeah,
and we care so much about their human rights. I don't see the Democrats up in arms at all with what these drug traffickers are doing.
And just remember that famous scene inside a Full Metal Jacket where he's hanging out the side of the Huey with the M60 yelling, you can tell the VC. The ones that run, those are VC. The one that stands still, well-trained VC. So shoot them all. Same thing. Same exact idea. So be careful before you go to that direction.
Again, defending the rights of drug traffickers. All right, give us a call.
Defending ethics and morals.
Give us a call. But I don't hear you being equally upset about what they're doing to Americans.
I'm upset about it, but Americans are also doing it to themselves.
Where's the defense of what's happening to Americans with these drug traffickers?
No, I don't like it at all.
You just told me that the Americans are part of this.
Yeah, they are.
They're the one choosing this.
Yeah, they are. They're taking the drugs affirmatively.
You're excusing the behaviors of the drug traffickers.
No, I'm saying that there is a level between soldiers shooting you in the face and person taking illegal drugs and putting it in their face. There's a difference there. That's all I'm saying. There's a different level there.
All right. Join the conversation. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's talk advanced hair restoration. Guys, if you're losing your hair and desire to have it back, then Advanced Hair Restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Paul's modern technology, and best of all, you get your own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it will grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR. If you qualify, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver and has changed the lives of tens of thousands of people. So don't wait. Check out the before and afters online for yourself, 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR, or advancedhair.com, advancedhair.com. Democrats upset about Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth targeting a narco-terrorist boat twice. What about the Geneva Convention? What about international law? I've never heard these same Democrats call for what about international law when it comes to the poisoning and death of Americans coming from these narco-terrorists.
How about American law? As one of
I
the
haven't heard them care about American law
as one of the texters points out,
Just allowed 20 million of them into our country.
Is drug smuggling a capital offense in America? It's a good question.
I would like it to be.
Well, it isn't, though. But evidently under the Trump administration, it is.
Because they're not Americans, so it's different law. All right. Feel free to give us a call. Join the conversation.
That doesn't make any sense.
72. Yeah, American law does not apply to people that are not Americans.
Yes, it does. Ask anybody that's here on a visa. Yes, it does.
But wait, sorry, we can go into Mexico and say, you need to obey American law? We can go into Venezuela? Because these aren't in America. They're in international waters.
I know. That's why we have to declare them as combatants. That's the only reason we're allowed to kill them at that point. We have to declare them as enemy combatants.
But you said
that allows.
Follow American law.
Yeah, I know. But the idea is here in America, I think it's interesting that here in America, we say, we're not going to kill drug smugglers. But if we declare you an enemy combatant, now drug smuggling is a capital offense.
Yeah,
we don't
outside of America.
I know. We don't even have that in our own laws. So we're not even even inside America, we don't say it's a capital offense for drug smuggling. Yet in this case, it is. That's interesting.
Okay. Well, I would like it to be. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. It might be Monday morning and a little chilly out there, but it's hot on the phone lines as we discuss this boat attack. Democrats calling for the release of a classified video of deadly boats attack, saying it's a violation of the Geneva Convention. What about the rights of the narco-terrorists? And my argument, they're just going after this because Donald Trump's the president. They didn't really care that much when Obama and Biden were doing it, and they definitely don't care about human rights because they're happy to jam scissors into the skulls of preborn innocent children. But narco-terrorists, now, we need to make sure that we follow the Geneva Convention. Let's go to the phone lines. Larry, Denver. Good morning, Larry. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I just want to say, Jeff, as I hear you talk and you're saying, hundreds of thousands of Americans are dying each year from, the drugs. And one thing that made me think about is really always going to come back. I'm always going to talk about this is commerce, business, and also about politics. This is what really this whole thing is about. And then in our society, what we do if we're choosing what substance we would allow to kill us. And I'll give you the example. So if you go and do the stats, if the worry and the concern is about, death and Americans dying, all you need to do is go get the stats from the alcohol industry.
Sure.
Let's get that.
It's actually way higher. In tobacco, it's 400,000. That's why I think that's always been my argument for why prohibition works. Is tobacco, the death rate is 4 times that of fentanyl.
Well, and and the reason why I bring that up, because I remember clearly as it was today that people protected the tobacco industry. People were saying, don't tread on us. And the tobacco industry back then said it absolutely is not addictive, and it doesn't do that. And after all the years, then they end up admitting it. But the people say, we want this, and don't you take this away from us. And now let's get to the next one, is the oxycodone. Yep. And then, the drug company has been pushing that, and then until these kids or whatever, the doctors, and, with that, and I say that with that, we're saying, I don't know, maybe that's the answer, say shoot them all. But at the same time, I don't see nobody go say shoot them all in the alcohol industry. Where's the business people and the high up and CEOs of those people that, if the cigarette industry, tobacco industry was them, where they're in jail, why are they not executed, assassinated? If the doctors are putting this out, but what we want to do is get the consumers, get the small people, the ones who are fragile. And so I just don't see it ever going to be serious because of the politics of it. And then what happens, in my opinion, every time, the cycle go around for elections, well, we got to go after these people. We have to, and what you can do, let's say this America go and take Venezuela off the map. America go and take Colombia off the map. That's not going to stop people appetites. And you can take every substance abuse user in America and let's eradicate them all, kill them all. But it's going to come back. So it's really not the issue when it comes. There's not enough jails to put these people in. You would have to just keep building and building. So I just say it's politics as usual, and they'll use that, and then they use it to target groups of people, because drugs in America was legal long time ago from all cocaine and everything else, but they used the lower people. And if that's the case, meth was in America. Meth is one of the most dangerous things they've made under cabinet households chemicals. I never see anybody talk about that. So it's hard when I hear people talking about this, and it's all politics, in my opinion.
Larry, you're not wrong that it's all politics. A great book that I would recommend that people check out if you want to get into how the pharmaceutical companies destroyed America with OxyContin and opioids is a book called Dreamland, and then its follow-up, The Least of Us, by Keontae, I think is his last name. Fantastic books that dive into this. Larry, you're not wrong in your frustration, because the pharmaceutical companies created the groundswell for this opioid addiction. So we'll continue. You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
This is KNUS.